Hello, welcome to Mr. B's Ukulele channel. Please like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy watching.
This is Andrew Lloyd Webber's Any Dream Will Do, written in 1968 for the show Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, and originally sung by David Daltrey, and then sung again in 1991 by Jason Donovan, and released as a single that year by him and made really famous at that time. And a big shout out to all of Mr. B's Ukulele channel's fans at Ashfield School who wrote in last week and corrected my mistake. I had originally made a claim that Jason Donovan sung it initially in 1968, and of course that is very wrong. He was actually born in 1968, so I rather made a mess of that. So a big thank you to all my fans at Ashfield School for writing in and correcting me on that one. So I've just done a quick re-release to correct that, but I thought I'd give them a shout out. Also, if you want anywhere to go for a great musical performance, you're into your theatre and your shows, Ashfield School do the very finest school productions of some of the greatest shows, anything and everything from We Will Rock You to Les Miserables. They have done, and they have smashed it every time. So do check out their Christmas productions at Ashfield School. They have got a fantastic stage manager who does some incredible set designs and all the lighting and sound to go with it. So do take a look at that. So let's get on with our tutorial for Any Dream Will Do, and do look out for my sing-along coming very soon, where I will be performing the song alongside the Grantham Canal. Okay, here we go. Any Dream Will Do. So, going to have a look at the chords. Now, this is a level 3 piece on my channel, so I've kept it relatively straightforward. There aren't any difficult chords in this one, but there's about 7 different chords in the piece, so we'll have a quick look through them now and have a look at how they go. Then we'll look at the strumming. Then I'll give you a walk through the song and a bit of a demonstration at the end. Okay, here we go. Let's look at some chords. So the chords start nice and easy on a C and a G. Hopefully we're familiar with those. C chord, of course, our third finger always on the 3rd fret down on the A string at the bottom there. And the G chord, just in case there's any uncertainty about the G chord, first finger, second finger, third finger. Do have a look at the diagram if you're not sure about that one. And you'll need to be comfortable with the G chord. We're going to use the G7 in a second as well. Let's look at that G chord first. Here we go. And now the G7. G7, of course, 1, 2, 3. Let me show that again. 1, 2, 3. The G chord is like that, and the G7. Now I keep that finger there in the same place, and I pivot the other 2. So we can go from the G to the G7, G to the G7. Now that's a really nice way of doing it when you're playing the 2 close to each other. Let's start on the G and just practice that. Give me 4 strums on the G, G, and the G7. Let's do that again. The G and the G7. Okay, if you're not comfortable with those 2 chords, have a good look at that bit, because you'll need to be comfortable with those before you can play the song. We've done the C. We've also got a C7. I always use my first finger for that one. You can use your second finger, doesn't really matter. First or second finger for the C7. And we've got an F, nice and easy. Remember, if you're new to these songs, always good to use your third finger on that C chord and your first and second finger on the F. If you get used to that, you can then use your different fingers for the different chords, and you'll find it much easier and quicker to change chords. So that's really helpful to sometimes really think about which fingers you're using for the different chords. Don't just use the same finger on every chord. So we've done the F, and then finally the D7. Now that's effectively a whole bar on the 2nd fret, and then our 3rd finger where we would play the C on the A string on the 3rd fret there. Of course, it's not a full bar on the 2nd fret, but it doesn't matter if you bar the whole 2nd fret, because you're going to put your 3rd finger in front of the 2nd finger. So D7, 2nd fret, full bar, and 3rd finger on the A string there. And there we go, and they're the chords, and all the chords you'll need for Any Dream Will Do. Now let's talk about the strumming, and I'm not going to talk a lot about the strumming, so I'm going to go into a walkthrough in a second. And really the strumming is just a nice simple down, down, up, down, up. And that's it. Okay, so nice and easy there on the strumming. Just make sure you're nice and loose with that and not too stilted. Just practice that, make sure it's nice and flowing, and then you're ready to tackle this song. Now, the only other thing to be aware of on the sheet music, if you have a look carefully, and don't forget, you can always download my sheet music in my Dropbox account, and the link to that is always in the description to each video, so you can find that below in the description and go to that and download the sheet music. So you've got the image. I create them as JPEGs, so you can just have that up on your screen as a JPEG or on your phone or anywhere, and you might, or print it out even, and you might find it easier to work off that than to try and follow just the video. So you've got the option there. So if you look at the sheet music, you'll see I've got 3 little yellow sort of bubbles or sort of splat signs at the end of the intro and at the end of some of the verses, and that's basically 3 taps. So the introduction, we're going to do this. So for the intro, it's C, G, C, G, tap, tap, tap. And on the second G, I'm not going to do the full strumming pattern. I'm just going to do 1 single strum and then the 3 taps. It's just like this. I close my eyes. Okay, so we're just using the 3 taps in place of the rest of the strumming pattern. So we do 1 single down strum, then we do the 3 taps, and then we carry on. So it's just a nice, simple, extra bit of rhythm that just leads into some of those verses. Let's do a walkthrough now and talk our way through the song, and then I'll give you a short demo part of it at the end. So we've just done the introduction, I'll do that again, and then we'll go into the first verse. Nice and steady. The key with this song is not to rush it. It's a beautiful song to sing. It is quite a challenging song to sing. You might find the pitch goes quite high for you. I've had to get the hang of the upper range of this song, spend a bit of time getting the hang of it. The key to singing higher range is to really push using your diaphragm. Lots of air, sit up straight or stand up even if you're struggling. Let the air flow out of you. You don't want to be compressing your lungs. You want to keep them nice and spaced out so that the air can flow out of you, and that helps you support the high notes. You really got to push from down here using your tummy muscles, your diaphragm, to push the air out. That will help you get to the higher notes. We all have limits to what we can sing, but you might find the crash of drums, that goes quite high. You can always drop it the octave alternatively if you want to. Here we go then, a quick walk through the piece. Starting on that C to G. 1 tap, 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 and we do I close my eyes on the C to G. Drew back the curtains, F on the end, to see for certain, G7, what I thought I knew, G7 again, far, far away, G, someone was weeping, F, but the world was sleeping, G7, any dream will do, to the G on the end. Now I don't do the taps there, I just keep the strumming going as we go into the second verse. Any dream will do. I wore my coat with golden lining, F, bright colours shining, G7, wonderful and new, G7 again, and in the east, G this time, the dawn was breaking, F, and the world was waking, G7, any dream will do. And then we go to the C7 there, and at that point you can start to play it a little bit louder. You can do a bit of a crescendo there. Any dream will do. A crash of drums, a flash of light, my golden coat flew out of sight. And the key there, as ever, when we increase the volume of a piece, when we increase the dynamics, it's always tempting to speed up as well. So try not to speed up. Try just to keep the tempo the same, but you let the dynamics increase. And that's always tricky because as you get excited with a piece that gets louder, you do get faster. And if you're singing it by yourself, it doesn't really matter. It's always a good habit to try and hold that back and just keep the tempo the same. Always a good musical habit, that. So we've got the C to the C7, get a bit louder into the crash of drums on the F. Now you might have noticed there I was doing something a bit different with my strumming. With the chorus, as it's got a bit louder, I've added a bit of a flick on my down strums. Now I'm trying to do it just on the second down strum, like this. A crash of drums, a flash of light, my golden coat flew out of sight. And what I'm doing is I'm just carrying through on the second down strum of the pattern. I carry through and I flick the wood on the ukulele top just below the strings, like that, and it just adds to the extra excitement of the chorus. Let me just show you that so you can see how it fits together. You don't have to do it all the time, but it can be a nice little extra to put in if you want to. Just a nice little extra sound that does work quite nicely. A crash of drums, a flash of light, my golden coat flew out of sight. The colours faded into darkness, I was left alone. And then we do the 3 taps again. Then we get to the end. I was left alone. May I 3 taps again. May I return to the beginning. And then I did one by mistake there. I'm not carrying on with the down flicks. I mean, you can do if you prefer to, but I then take the down flicks out and just go back to the normal strumming because the verses are a bit softer in between. May I return to the beginning. F again, the light is dimming. G7, and the dream is to the world and high. We are still waiting. F, still hesitating. G7, any dream will do. And then we're going to do the ending, which is the same of the crash of drums, and then May I Return to finish on. I'm just going to give you that as a quick demo now. And then at the very end of the song, we just repeat the Any Dream Will Do 3 times, and you just got a C to G7 there, repeating at the end. And it's just a nice little ending, nice and simple, and just slow it down. And just go slightly high on one of the lines of song. I'll just give you the ending. Any dream will do, G7. Any dream will do, go up there, G7. Any dream will do, and stop. And just slow that down as you get to the end. So I'll just give you a demonstration of the crash of drums, and May I Return, the ending there, the last 2 parts of the song. Here we go for a quick demo before we finish. Any dream will do. A crash of drums, a flash of light, my golden coat flew out of sight. The colours faded into darkness, I was left alone. May I return to the beginning. The light is dimming, and the dream is to the world and I. We are still waiting, still hesitating. Any dream